Welcome back, everybody, to the 104th episode of the SAWDUST Nation podcast with your returning hosts, me, Nat, from Nat's Naughty Works LLC, Josh from North Country Woodworking, and Nick from MPG Creations. There's a lot going on in their shops, not so much going on in my shop. So we're going to dive right into it. I'm probably going to go, middle, last, because I got quite a few stories. And
no, you're going first.
Oh, I get to go first. Okay, yeah. Welcome back to myself. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you, Nick, Josh, for the warm welcome and the amazing
welcome
names.
Back, man.
You know, it's so great.
We missed you.
No, but
All
seriously,
we can't talk crap about him anymore, Josh.
Oh no, don't worry. I heard all the crap talking on the episodes. Don't worry, I got it. You know, I took notes. You know, and I just added it to my little book. You know,
we recorded for you, so you can listen to it anytime you want, right?
Yeah, I know, right? Get ready for this. It's about to be a bumpy ride. So let's take it back about 2 weeks back in San Antonio. I'm going to tell you right now, moving yourself is not an easy task, let alone the fact that I'm the one that hired my own movers, which I'll never do again. I thought it was going to be easier than everything that had happened. These guys are pretty aware of what's happened, but not a lot of you are. So when I began, I moved back in April. So yes, you heard right, in April. Because in the military, when you get your orders, like the first thing you do is you set up your move. You get all your stuff settled, make sure, stuff's going to get paid for, all the things. That's what I did.
If it will get paid for.
Yeah, right? Because that's another thing. Because moving isn't cheap either. It's actually a very expensive task, especially if you've done it before. Probably know what I'm talking about. So everything's good. Everything's kosher. I put a pretty sizable down payment for it and everything. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm thinking the people that I'm talking to are the people that are moving me. False. They ended up being a brokerage company. And I didn't know they were a broker company until a company showed up at my front door with a truck that was not the company I was talking to. Please silence all audio devices for the recording of this episode. Thank you.
Sorry.
I'm just messing, man. We all do it. Now I'm actually checking my phone as well, which my sound is also on. So turn it off. And but here's what makes it better. So this is where the devastation begins. They sent the wrong damn truck on the first day. Okay, so by wrong truck.
Wait a minute. Is that a title? Wrong damn truck.
Yeah, right. So I look at these poor dudes because they're just the movers. They're just the drivers. They're just the guys that are coming to move my stuff for me. I said, sorry, guys, you're not loading this stuff on that truck. They go, well, what do you mean? I go, well, I asked for a lift gate, and you have a ramp. He said, well, what do you got? I'm like, well, let me show you. The first thing I showed him was the 600-pound sawed cast iron. He goes, oh, hell, we ain't lifting that. Legitimately, his face went from, oh, we can do it to, real quick. So we went through this whole thing debacle between their boss and all this other stuff about getting a liftgate truck. They tried having me fork out more money, all these things. And I'm like, no, I'm not giving you no more money. You brought the wrong damn truck. So why do I need to give you more money? Because you screwed up. So eventually everything solves itself. And we get another truck after yelling at the broker company. And by the way, I stayed as calm as I could until about the fifth phone call. Because he kept getting them running around, and everyone can only handle so much. We get the right truck at 4 o'clock in the evening on June 1st. We were supposed to be gone that day, out of the house. So we weren't gone, obviously. We packed this truck to it was full. So full that I didn't think the TV that they packed in last was going to make it because of the way they put it in there. Now, these two been to my house, and they know that I have a fairly large TV that was in my living room that my wife picked up. Mind you, I like big TV. It's awesome. But for the record, I didn't want it. She did. Not complaining, though. And so it actually made it. So that's a spoiler. But it made it. But when we go ahead and pull out, we still have all this stuff still in the house. I got rid of stuff I didn't want to get rid of. So that's not part of moving. If they don't have someone come look at your stuff before they quote you and do all that stuff, you tell them they need to have someone come look. Make sure it's someone local that you're dealing with. Because they did this walk through and go, no, this is not going to fit in this truck. I was like, great. So we had to part ways with some furniture and shell out more money for a junk remover to come pick up the stuff off our curb. So, okay, that's over. Out of the house. thank God, right? At 2 a.m. on June the 2nd. We then left from that house after packing and cleaning, painting, and all this stuff all day. We drove up to Fort Worth. That was like a 5-6 hour drive. We made it there safely, and we slept, I can't say, for a very long time. So we eventually finally get everything going. We're finally moving. We're getting up the States. We went through the rest of the move from Fort Worth all the way up to, well, where I'm at now, North Dakota. In total, it was 24 hours if you really go from San Antonio to where I'm at. It was a 5-day drive. We segmented out about 6 hours. We had one shorter day because we were going to take one long day from Rapid City. Rapid City, that was our longest drive. Rapid City up to Minot. But we got to see Mount Rushmore, which was cool. One of the things on my bucket list, the family wanted to see. My father-in-law was with me. He wanted to see it. And we got to go see some more. Beautiful drive until we got to about South Dakota. So funny thing about driving through South Dakota and North Dakota, there is no change. It took us some backwoods, like we were in the country driving through farmland, and it was a lot. So we finally get here to Minot, and after staying at a bunch of hotels and whatnot, we signed into our final hotel, which one thing the military does, which I think is pretty awesome, is when you're moving, you get 10 days of free lodging. So they didn't have anything on base. Score. I got a non-A. We stayed in the Hilton. So that was pretty cool. But now this is where things get dicey again. So we call the company and say, hey, earliest delivery date was the 12th. Like, okay, well, that doesn't mean you're going to get it on the 12th. They're going to be en route at least by the 12th. We're like, okay. Well, they're en route. But in this whole entire process of us trying to get a hold of the company that's moving us, we're trying to contact the wrong movers because the broker company was giving us the wrong number to our movers. They didn't even know who was moving us after they hired the second company.
You gotta be kidding me.
So I'm like, are you serious right now? So eventually I used the old nugget, and I was like, well, I did pay these guys through Zelle. So I looked up the phone number on the Zelle because you got to do my phone number, email, and phone number luckily is what I used. Got a hold of their boss, said, yeah, I'll have a driver call you, blah, blah, blah. So once that interaction started, everything kind of went a lot better up until the liftgate incident. Needless to say, that broker company is going to be getting a lot of reviews from multiple people. So we get the guy here. The weight ticket thing, that was a whole fiasco, but we got those. I'm not even going to go through that story. But then we're finally unloading everything. Everything's unloaded. In the midst of unloading, my red Craftsman table with the wheels, the one that I said I should take the wheels off, but they said it'd be fine. Yeah, I knew better, and well, they broke the hell out of those. Those are destroyed. Which, listen, if that's the most that's wrong, which it pretty much was, I'm okay with that. Yeah. Now my table saw, on the other hand, they either dropped it or tipped it, one of the two. Because when I unloaded my saw stop, it was backwards on the hydraulic pump stick because they tipped it, lifted it, whatever they did. It has a chip in the cast iron.
In the cast iron?
Yeah.
How do you chip the cast iron?
By dropping it. So needless to say, I've taken pictures of everything on that. And if it works, where the chip is, it really doesn't matter. It's not going to mess the functionality.
Make them pay for a new one and then ship me yours. I mean,
yeah, right. But then the paddle switch, it's loose back and forth. That's how I know they had to have dropped it. We'll be claiming some things on that. My drum sander, that's something else that happened. So these guys disassembled the pedal wheel. Okay. Thankfully, they just disassembled it. I thought they broke it, but no, they disassembled it. But it came off in pieces, so you can imagine my surprise. And when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, like what did you do?" And then it ended up being fine. But they definitely lifted that thing from the table, and the little there was like a little extension for when you're feeding stuff through. They definitely lifted it from that because that thing's extremely loose. So that entire assembly is going to be like recalibrated, re-leveled, everything. Needless to say, I've got work cut out for me. Now, getting past all that, we get to the very last thing, which is the laser. Now, the laser, you all know, has a lot of different like spaces and stuff. You can shove anything in there. I put hoses. I put a lot of stuff in there. Okay, just put it that way. We put on the lift gate, and we're going down. They hit the ground with it, and we go to roll this off, and the lift gate just keeps trying to go down. Like it was just stuck, and all you hear is the motor going, and the hydraulic fluids are like spitting out the little reservoir. Eventually, the freaking the lift died. I ended up fixing this guy's freaking lift gate on his damn truck before he left to get him out of here. And
Did you charge him?
well, okay, so we didn't charge him from that because I just really wanted him to get the hell out. But we also ended up unpacking all of our shit with the help of some people across the street because they couldn't find laborers here in North Dakota. Go figure. But we got paid for that. So we got money back for unloading our own stuff. So that's a plus. So needless to say, everything's in the house now, which I'm going to tell you right now, anybody that's moved anything in the military knows when your stuff finally arrives and everything's off the truck, it's like a huge weight lift.
Until you realize you got to unpack it.
So everything is unpacked for the most part. My office is actually fairly set up, obviously, because I'm recording right now. For those of you that have been to my office, you've known that it was structured a little differently where I had a fully U-shaped desk. Well, that's not the case now. So I have my hutch. I have my main desk. I have the epoxy desk back here, but the piece that connects them is not connected. The room is a lot smaller than my old office. It's like a 10 by 10. But like I was telling Josh and Nick before we got on, the house is actually cozier than the last one. Last one was just big. And, we had an extra room for like no reason. And
usually people don't complain about that, man.
Typically they don't, but I'm going to tell you what. When you're moving, cleaning an extra room and doing a bunch of stuff and emptying stuff out of a room that you never used really was...
I don't know, man.
But I'm good with the 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's good for here.
I don't hear people bragging about being cozy sized.
I mean, okay, yeah. I guess you don't. But in our case, we're actually happy with what we have here. Like a little bit happier. Just because the way the house is built, it's just better for our lifestyle, I guess. The garage, if I'm looking at these walls right now,
yeah,
the left wall is literally the other side of my garage. So like where Nick has his garage and then his panels like right there, it's kind of the same thing. But my panel is actually in my garage too, which brings me to my shop. Because the shop is really, what we're here to talk about. No one really cares about the moving experience except for me.
Oh, I care.
No, I'm being facetious.
Oh, we care, Nap. We really do.
But the shop it's going to take some work. So Nap's Naughty Works will not be up and running probably until mid-July. I'm going to take my time building it up.
Nap's not going to be naughty for a while.
Yeah. I have to wire the whole garage. It's got one whole plug in there. Yeah.
Hey, you're on my level.
Yeah. So I hired an electrician. I haven't paid any money yet because I did meet a fellow across the street. He's a CE guy by trade, and he has master electricians that work for him. So I'm going to be possibly sending them what I want, and they may come do it for like nothing.
Some beer.
Oh man,
hey,
put a work order in through CE, you'll get it done.
Yeah, work order at 3008.
Why is this off base?
Yeah, right. So we're probably either way, it's gonna get wired. I got 3 220s getting put in. One for the PW1 spindle, so I can have a fully powered 80 millimeter water cooled spindle. I'm gonna have my heater, and I'm gonna have the table saw drop. And then I'll have a few dedicated circuits, one for my laser, one for the mechanicals on my CNC, and then the other one will be for my dust collector that's going to be off in a corner. Yeah, and then there'll be one more that's just 2 plugs because I'm not going to use certain equipment at the same time, so I can use that for those other pieces of equipment.
To be honest, what equipment would you ever use at the same time other than
like my CNC and my laser, like those are dedicated, so they run simultaneously. But like for like my joiner and my miter saw, all those things, I could run those on that because I'm not going to use those at the same time.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just curious.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
Oh, and speaking of my laser, what's funny? Out of all the things that I thought was going to get broken, none of that stuff got broken. Like,
good.
The laser only had a minor scratch on the plexiglass. I'll take that any day. If that's all that happened to that damn thing.
Scratch on it from sitting there.
Yeah, yeah, right. The tube I open it, tube is fine, but everything moves in when it travels. So I got a lot of recalibration, a lot of realigning, all that stuff to do. We got a storage unit, so really I won't get to start really putting my stuff together until the electric is, well, I guess I can start putting it together, but I gotta get all the extra stuff out. So we're gonna be taking a lot of stuff to a storage unit, like boxes and stuff for like Christmas and just other stuff we don't need in the house right now, and stuff that you typically probably store in a garage. But my garage, as we all know, is not a typical garage. So that'll be all good to go. Trying to see if there's anything else. My new job that I have is interesting. So I'm what's called a section chief. So I now have a bunch of people that work for me, and I'm gonna tell you that is mentally exhausting, especially when you're meeting a bunch of new people and you've had people tell you how things have changed. Oh, things have definitely changed. Airmen are wilding out. It's interesting to say the least.
Yeah, they don't listen like they used to, man. It wasn't like when we were airmen and they're like, go clean the toilets or the bathroom. Now you say that, they just give you the look like, no.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell them, well, it's because I told you so. So you're just going to go do that.
And that's how he retired early.
Yeah. And then, and it's funny, in the middle of all these moves, I do got to give some shout outs though. So one to you and Nick, and for checking in on me, but also Ben, Victor. He's actually sending me a switch, an internet switch for my garage, so I can make it easy to wire my things in here, which is pretty awesome. So thank you, Victor. And then John Davis, he called me almost on every other day, just to check in, see how I'm doing. So I appreciate everyone that was checking in, because believe it or not, I needed that, especially on a few of the days where I was about ready to fill the whole room with uppercut. So those are good. So I appreciate you guys checking in and making sure I was doing all right. But yeah, that's it, guys. A lot of what you're going to see and what you're going to hear is the progress and how things are getting built in the shop, how I'm doing here. I got to say, the wife and I did have a talk. I think we're going to stay here the 6 years until I retire. And our final move will be wherever we're going to live.
You're going to stay there for 6 years?
Unless the Air Force moves me.
Don't worry. I'll get you orders back here to be an MTI. I got you.
You can kiss my... I already did the DSD stuff, man. Oh, I'm good. Check. I got to say, being somebody that actually is somewhat respected again, because you're not all the same rank as everyone else, is really nice.
They know who you are. Right?
People actually call you sir or sergeant or any of those things. I don't know what it is about that, but actually being able to lead people is way better than
different
being
worlds.
Than being amongst like 30 of my peers and wondering who's going to cut your legs out from under you next. It's pretty nice. So
I can mention names if you like. Anyway.
Yeah, go ahead. Starting with A.
So I'm going to go ahead and pass on over to Josh. You got a lot going on, man. Let's hear it.
Well, I don't have as much as you, but I definitely have some life-changing stuff happening. So I recently found out that I got a job that's going to cause me to stay here basically for the rest of my career. I have a game plan, and so does the command, and we're all in agreement. So that being said, this weekend was actually a pretty cool weekend. I took Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, and then had Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I had a 6-day basic work week in the shop, and I went to work on Saturday in the shop early. It was like 7:30, and my son wanted to get up, and usually we tell him to go back to bed. And I was like, it's like 63 degrees out. What a better time to clean out the shop, right? And actually restructure it and get it to a place that I can actually utilize everything and not have to pull things out and stuff like that. So I processed every single slab I had, all the little pieces I had, everything. With one exception, I do have a burl in there that I have not done anything with, and that's because it needs to go onto the bandsaw, and I need a new blade because it's kind of dull. But yeah, if you remember that back left-hand corner in my shop, it is no longer wood; it's tools. So I have a workbench back there with my rigid sander, and then my mortiser, and then I put my bandsaw up on there as well. I'm starting a sticker wall back there, and I put up a project holder above my deep freeze. And then everything else is remaining the same. Oh, my drawer press is up there as well. But basically what that did is allow me to open up the main floor and give myself some more room. So I took the storage unit that I had back there, and I actually took it into two pieces, and I put it between my outfeed table, which was my toolbox, and the CNC, and I put the black Micronite, I think it's called, on there. And now I have like an extended outfeed table on the left-hand side and storage between the CNC and my my table saw. So when I'm sitting there in the stool, I have like an L shape essentially. And now I can, actually have pieces over here and assemble something over here and kind of have a better flow. I went through and I fixed up the table saw. It needed some love. Had to do some adjustments there. I went to my miter saw station and I actually put that black Micronite stuff there as well. So that's been done. I fixed the pull out for my miter saw as well. That I'm going to need it now because both sides are more clear than they were, and I can actually more room.
You got a better pull out game now.
I do. I went in and I greased the rails and secured everything so it was nice and tight because I had too much slop in there and I definitely needed to do some adjustments.
It's not always a little bit of slop ain't that bad.
Well, when it is something that heavy and you're trying to pull out. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so
Josh,
I painted it black, mean this ain't open. Anywho, so
hey, I guess you like them how you like them. It's all good, man.
If you go walk in the shop now, basically all the surfaces are blocked top of the Micronite, which makes everything, if I do any kind of glue or epoxy, it's easy to clean up. Are all lined up nice and neat. And, I just did some adjustments and basically even with the laser, I finally got my inline fan in and got that installed. And,
you got it?
Yeah, finally. And not going to go down that rabbit hole. But I got that installed and I set up the laser fully. So it's basically all the way up and, it's not going to be moving anywhere. Everything's adjusted. And that leaves me with the final thing really I have to do in there is set up the CNC. So I'm not going to get too far into it, but I have some upgrades from PWN CNC that we were sent, and I need to go in there and set that up. And then I bought some upgrades too before my last upgrade, and I'm going to set that up. But it's kind of weird because I'm at a weird spot. I got approved for that Raven project. I'm waiting for the funds, and I'm probably going to be buying a Journeyman because that's the only thing that's going to be able to fit into my garage at the moment.
What about the 4x4?
I was going to go that road, but honestly, it's not going to fit. I'll be giving up a little too much room. It's still on the table, but I'm trying to work with what I have first dimension wise. The Journeyman, I would have to give up not so much a deep. It's going to be longer.
Check this out. So what if you get Heather on board and you just use your kitchenette as the CNC room?
Well, it's funny because at one point in time I made that joke and she just gave me this look of like, I will kill you tonight. And I
will smother you in your sleep.
She takes it well. And of course it was something we agreed on, but when I have taken over the entire garage, there was absolutely nothing in there. I even moved the kids' toys out. Like there's not a single shred of anything for the house. It's all shop space now. And she she takes it well, but once in a while there's a joke of if we had a garage and actually used it like a garage.
That's a passive aggressive joke.
That's your shop is bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys know, it's on base housing. But that being said, once housing calms down and the market is a little bit to the buyer, some kind of place off base, this bigger shop, bigger house for the kids and all that. But that's something in the future. Right now I'm trying to set up the shop in such a way that I don't have to really worry too much about doing it later, because this entire time I've been playing the game of when am I going to leave. My aircraft has been going away since I stepped foot on the space, and now it's going away, and I found a place somewhere else so I can stay here. So it's a different game now. I'm actually looking at like how I want things long term, and just to the way I set up the shop is a look at that. I'll be hard piping my table saw into my dust collection. That's going to happen. I actually fixed my dust collection. I didn't realize it, but there was a blockage at the actual fan.
Yep.
And I tried everything. I cleaned all the hoses. I emptied everything, and I finally said, you know what? There's only one place I didn't check. I pull it off, and like all the stuff drops down. I put it back in. I tighten it up.
Like a dream. So it's funny. Towards my end of the stay at San Antonio, I was having those issues. Like my drum sander was spitting dust everywhere. I was like, what is going on? Yeah. Like I've got all the blast gates closed except for this one. What is happening? As I'm moving the dust collection around, I accidentally knocked the hose off, and I just see all this stuff. And that cat wants to fly, fight, and win right now.
Yeah, but you got to be careful. You got to make sure you're checking all those ports and everything. Thus, I'll be replacing my blast gates, probably some plywood, and I'll be kind of modeling over what Wacky Works has done with his. I've been talking to him and Joey have come up with a pretty good system. I saw it in person. It works really well. And I only have 2 blast gates. One goes to the CNC, one goes to my table saw. So me installing 1 or 2 of those ain't going to be that difficult. And basically what I'm going to do is hard pipe everything I can, and anything that needs to be any kind of a drop line, which will have to be to go underneath the table saw. But I mean, for the most part, it's going to be a lot more CFM. And even with me fixing the little issue I did today, cleaned out my table saw completely because I've been trying to use it. I looked in it today and I was kicking up dust when it was just on. So I'm like, it's pretty full. Yeah. I lift the plate and I look down and I'm like, yeah, like it was almost completely full. So I'm pretty happy about that, especially because of the way I've installed everything. It's essentially very difficult to get to the line. So if there was a blockage, I'd be in trouble. But I fixed it. It's working great. I can turn it on every time. It's going to suck that dust real good. Suck real good. And I'm pretty happy with the shop. Long story short, lots been happening, especially in the shop. Still knocking out orders, doing everything. But even my wife wants to go out there now because it's so spaced out and clean and open. She's been doing a lot of laser work. In fact, 8:30 tonight, she was giving out one of our last orders. So if I'm not running the CNC or the laser, she's actually running the laser. It's actually a fight who gets time on there at the moment because she placed a last call order the other day and she got 23 orders in like 4 hours.
Nice.
So we both have been jobbing. That laser has been going, and I've been figuring out a little bit more as I go. I did a test trial to make sure everything was aligned. It needs a little bit more adjustment to get perfect, but it's definitely tuned. It's doing fairly well for like I showed you guys earlier, the slate I just tried for the first time. Just a lot of little projects, a lot of stuff happening. I'll do a grand review of the shop here soon on Instagram. I'll start doing some more stories as well. But I wanted to set up that, and it took me a couple of days to get everything because the first day was basically processing all those slabs. There was a lot of slabs I had in there. Now they're usable, ready to go, and break them down for use. But yeah, it's been a journey, and it's finally in a state where like I have places for everything. Victor Designs. That's great, Josh. Next step is his and hers lasers. We still have the Glowforge, but I don't want to turn that on ever again. And that's just sitting dark since we started. She's been learning Lightburn and doing fairly well with it. I've been using it for a couple of years, and for the amount of time she's used it, she's doing fairly well.
Glowforge is like, hello, darkness, my old friend.
Well, the irony is that my diode is on top of the Glowforge, and it's both been sitting there for at least a month.
But you know what, though? So, I got to mention, I listened to the podcast with AJ, Jesse Four, and Nick. And when I heard that the laser wasn't set up still, and he's got his laser sitting inside the laser, I'm like, AJ, set up your OMTech.
Well, this July, Victor and I will be going down to help him set up his laser. With or without his permission, we might get arrested. Who knows? But we're going to. We already forewarned him, and he don't seem to mind. But we're going to do a shop visit to help him out. He's busy.
Victor did ask something. Says, have any of you had an issue with DeWalt 735, the chip ejector? It feels like it stopped working. Have you opened it up and checked to see if the the little part where all the chips go through? Because sometimes if you're playing like stringy type wood or anything like that, that stuff won't go through like normal chips, and it could be clogging it up. It's real simple to pull off. I would take a look. Or you could just do the simple thing and put nothing through it, turn it on, and just put your hand back there or something, or just put some kind of paper to see if it's blowing. But I mean, it could be clogged.
Unplug it, take it apart, and
have you tried turning it off and on again, though? That's the real question.
Then check it out.
Just
Ash will definitely string up on you depending on how the grain is when it goes through.
Yeah, I've actually had issues with that milling. Like when I mill ash, it like leaves long ribbons of wood.
Do you use dust collection for your planer, or do you hook up a bag and just let it blow in the bag?
Me or Victor?
Well, I mean, either one of you guys, but you, because I could talk to you.
I use my dust collector.
Okay.
But
I'm thinking about just getting a bag for it.
So you could do that. All I'm saying is
I let it blow in a bag.
No, it's a sock neck. Don't get confused.
I starch them socks.
You got to make sure your dust collection has enough CFMs though, because I learned really quick if you don't, it'll blow the freaking dust bag open.
Yeah, that happened to me. Once I got it fixed and ready to go, apparently the bag hasn't been extended for a while, and it basically turned it on. It's working really well, and blew everywhere, man. And like I couldn't get it to the off button, fast enough, and it was just going everywhere.
Sounds like a problem.
Well, I was thinking about using the bag just because it'd be a pain to get dust collection all the way over there. And again, I'm trying to exclude drop lines as much as possible.
What I want to do, if I had the space to do it, is get a designated trash can and like put the lid on it, cut a hole in the lid for the hose to go into the trash can. Mm-hmm. And then since my DeWalt 735 blew, it'll just blow all the chips, everything into the trash can, and you can put the liner on the trash can.
That's what I've heard a lot of people using, some kind of bag system, some kind of trash bag. And I was thinking just a bag because I don't use my planer all that often. And when I do use it, I usually roll it out to the, the front and I use it there. But I don't know. I'll think of something. I like to get the newer DeWalt planer. The one I have is the lunchbox. This thing is 734. It works good. It works gooder. But I don't have both stages, which, I've only been working with the one stage. And it's more expensive to upgrade. So if you get the 735, you can get the helical heads for a lot cheaper.
Yeah, that's true. So. You can find them on Marketplace all the time. It's literally, and people are taking hits on them too. So like you'll pay anywhere from $600 to $800 for the 735, depending on what head it has on it. If it has a stand and the in-feed, out-feed trays and all that stuff. And people are going to upgrade, and they're going to list them for like 400 bones, 500 bones. And you can't buy a new one for that much. I think I paid $650 for my whole setup new. And the very next day, some I was in New Jersey listed theirs for $450, $500. I was so irritated. I was so mad. But yeah, Josh.
Well, eventually that's the plan is change out pretty much the joiner for helical heads, the planer, and just start doing these minor upgrades because the equipment I have is good for the shop I have and it works. So now it's just a matter of starting to upgrade some of the components of it to make it, better. But
yeah.
With that, I'm gonna definitely kick it over to Nick while we have you and get you talking about your shop.
Before I start, I gotta let everybody know I shipped out the hand planes from the 100th episode. I shipped out both hand planes actually, so the number 4 from Wood River and the medium shoulder plane. Those are out to their recipients. The IsoTunes Pro gone to their recipient. There's a couple other things I shipped out. I still have yet to ship out the pen to Mr. Bem from I should have shipped it when he won the last month's giveaway with the saw blade, but I didn't because I'm not smart. Anyway, but got good news. Good news. I was running low on packing material. I just got another shipment of packing material in. I was trying to stretch what I had. Big old black rolls of 3 foot by 300 yard bubble wrap. I've got these foam bags. So check this out. I have to buy like sheets of foam on a roll. You can buy them already made into bags. And I got a bag that's like, that's not foam. That's a bubble mailer.
It has a bubble. Yep.
Yeah. So no, what I'm talking about is like I ordered. I think they're like 30 by 18 or something like that, or 30 by 15 bags that are the foam baggies.
Oh, yeah.
They are a little bit expensive. However, if you spend over a certain amount, I got this T-shirt for free. So just saying, you get a free gift if you spend over an obscene amount of money. So check them out. Uline.com. But I'll tell you what, they are fast. I ordered, what is it? It was 1 day shipping or 2 day shipping or whatever. The last time I ordered, they were there like the next morning. Holiday, I ordered on here today. So they're real fast.
I am a robot.
Checked them yet, but
I can't post them yet. They got to present it to the person on the 24th. So I still have a couple days yet left. It's one of my typical memory box deals. However, this one was just a little bit different. And so instead of getting already prefabricated
service logo to put under the lid, I actually made badges myself out of like resawed cherry on the laser. There's tons of laser work on this piece, all sides except the bottom. It's got the blue flock on the interior, and it's got the blue backer on the top, and as well as your normal walnut and curly maple look. Currently, I have a job on the laser working. It's a bunch of wrenches for not Davis Monthan. What is it? Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. I'm sending some off there. Man, my orders are just stacked up right now. Like knocking those down. Yeah, that is along with some other
curly that I had saved.
Curly maple's few and far between to find down here. Alamo, but I will never go there again. See here.
So I know you like to use like the hard maple, but we know that's very like hardwood and it's pretty terrible on blades sometimes. But if you get that silver leaf maple, it's still considered a hardwood, and you actually find a lot more curl in silver leaf than you will in your hard maple. So just a thought.
Well, when I went to Dakota Hardwoods, I try to gaze all the maple. And I didn't see anything that was figured this time. I've been to Dakota like 2 times in the past 2 weeks for re-ups on wood, but I got a shadow box to do starting tomorrow, and then I have another memory box to do. I got to get out by the 1st. I have another trunk that I'm finishing up. Remember that one, Josh? I gotta have you send me those interior pieces.
You want me to send you that now?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'll just pay you for shipping or whatever. You don't have to send the wood. You could just send the items.
Okay.
Because that'll save on space in the box.
Oh, it's like a 90s rap.
And
Yeah, I'm looking at my list here. I got a bunch of stuff.
You were coming
Oh, you
through
good,
like
man.
you were like,
What's going on?
you know, that's kind of how it sounded.
And yeah, that'll be it. My shop's been like a bomb hit. I'm just ready to push through all this stuff.
You know, man. You know, if you need help, you know, just saying. You know, I'm not running, but I know of a few makers out there that are running. And they could probably help you out.
Yeah, but I already have everything. Pretty much locked in. You know what I mean? Designs. I already ordered materials for all this stuff. It's just a matter of time.
Just working your butt off. I got you. Burning the midnight oil.
I'm on leave, dude, so I can. I'm on vacation.
That's right.
So I can-
That's the
How
what
long
the
did you
whole
take
COVID
leave for?
thing is.
I took leave till I retire. No, I took leave till
Yeah, okay.
the 5th of next month.
Oh, wow.
Anyway.
Okay. That was a pretty good chunk.
Giant chunks. I like them.
Well, if you're done with your
We're
shop,
pushing
dude.
for an hour now, bro, aren't we? Where we at?
We have a question. I have no idea. 'Cause
We do,
we
from
recorded like
AJ.
15 times.
Crap.
Yeah, let's go ahead and play that, and then we can wrap it up. How about that? Okay, so we got a question from AJ from Crafted and NJ, and here we go.
What's going on, guys? It's AJ over at Crafted and NJ.
Oh, no
I got
way.
a quick question about the laser setup. So after it's all hooked up and ready to go, I know I still have to align mirrors and ramp test and whatnot, but before any of that can happen, what should I know before I turn the on switch on? I don't want to hit the on button and next thing I know, this thing smokes and I'm out a
Nothing.
$3,000 laser. So any feedback is greatly appreciated. Look forward to hearing it on the next episode. And you guys are doing an awesome job with the podcast. Keep it up, and I'll be tuning in.
So to answer your question, AJ, honestly, man, nothing. Because what's going to happen is when you.
I'd like to take this, Josh.
Oh, sorry. Here, go ahead, Nate.
You probably want to make sure you got water in that chiller.
And
That's flowing
the tube.
That's what
And that you have the chiller set to a constant temperature. Otherwise, if you fire that laser up, I mean, you might be able to turn it on, but if you go to run that laser without water flowing through the tube at a constant temperature of cooling, then you're going to jack that tube up ASAP. So go ahead.
So one thing I will say on that is the beautiful thing about pretty much every laser that I've heard and seen at this point in my time of messing with lasers, there is fail safes built in too. So if there is something wrong with flow, i.e. Josh's issue he had a little while back,
He had a heavy flow.
he had lack of a flow.
It was one of those light days.
Yeah, very light. But AJ, so on that, with hooking up your water chiller, which I'm assuming your question is based off of, like, you have everything already hooked up. It's a matter of the turning on part. But if you don't have the water chiller hooked up, make sure, and I don't know why they label it like this, but when you're doing the output and input from laser to chiller, it's backwards. So you want the output of your chiller to go to the input of your laser, and the output of the laser to go to the input of your chiller. So it
Makes
flows in a
sense.
circle. But once that's done, and like Nick said, you have it set. There should be decent instructions on how to set that. You literally just turn the on button on. It'll home itself the first time, But then, of course, that's when you get into light burn. You know, just like you do with your diode, you got to set your work area, get it connected, and all those things. Once that's done, realistically, man, you're ready to rock and roll with alignment. But it is imperative that you make sure that you set your workspace when you do your light burn stuff, because if you don't, you will crash that laser. Because the sensing switches are only meant for homing. They're not meant to stop that thing. But Lightburn has added a new Lightburn has added a new feature though, which they didn't have when I first started. It'll actually ask you if you're outside your workspace. It'll say this project can possibly go outside your workspace. Are you sure you want to continue? Then you can reevaluate, make sure you're set up. And if you think like, oh, it's a smaller piece, because I get that warning when I'm doing rotary stuff. I don't know why, but I just do. I did the whole Jesus take the wheel and push the send button anyways, and it ended up working fine.
Well, it's probably because when it thinks of rotary, it's thinking of a linear versus a round object, so it's going a lot further than it thinks. Yeah. So, or not as far as it thinks.
So yeah, and so that's really it, man. And then once you get to the alignment stuff, I'm a phone call away. I'll even video call with you, and I'll help you get it all set up. If unless Josh can head over there and help you out, because Josh seems to got it pretty dialed in for his stuff. So
you just shoot a bunch of lasers.
Pew pew.
And don't put your hand in the way.
Oh yeah, I did burn my finger one time. It hurt.
Yeah, a lot. I actually have a scar from lighting. Where is it?
Is it smelling of burning? What is that?
Actually, no. I felt like I got electrocuted. It wasn't electrocuted.
I burned my wiener.
Well, stop marking your tools.
But all right. Hopefully that answers your question. But at the same time, realistically, just reach out to us, man. Like that's what we're here for. You know that.
Oh yeah. If you've got that little meter on the left-hand side of your laser, turn it all the way up.
Oh yeah. I remember that
will definitely help.
Josh calls me. He goes, "Nah, I've literally done all this crap, and it's still burning super light. What is going on?" And he's like, "I looked at all this stuff, but then there's this thing over here." I'm like, "This was a total guess and luck, by the way." I was like, "Oh yeah, turn it all the way up." And sure enough, that actually regulates.
What's amperage?
Yeah,
ampermeter.
It regulates the amount of amperage going to your tube, i.e., how much power you're actually using. It's the same thing as setting your percentage. Like there's a setting in Lightburn when you select a layer, you can actually, like let's say you're doing 100%, and I don't know why you would do this, but you can actually set the percentage of actual power in Lightburn. It seems that OMTech is giving you the option just to do it right there on the laser. So
yeah, the only reason I could think of is like if you were about to say you wanted everything at 100%, but you didn't want to burn out your laser tube, you dial down the amperage there and then adjust the speed. Almost like how I ran my diode, just, with the CO2. But, I mean, that's the only reason I can think of. But, yeah, I checked that as part of my checklist of starting up. And I do the same thing. I taught my wife how to do the same thing. She actually crashed the laser this weekend. And we talked about having the same startup procedures every time, doing the same thing every time. Because that's an expensive crash when that happens. So,
I find it more annoying than anything if you crash it, because then you've got to realign everything.
It's like go ahead.
It's just like I'm a dumbass. I just crashed my laser again. It's going to take me another 15 minutes to go ahead and align the mirrors and make sure everything's at 90 degrees, like the laser head's at 90 degrees. It's just such a pain in the.
It is, yeah.
And don't hit this enter unless you have a piece underneath the little ball that retracts, because you could also crash your laser into the bed, and then
that's what she did
in the A. Because that could potentially damage the laser.
All I did in that, okay, so if you ever crash the autofocus, turn the laser off, use this emergency stop. It's okay to do that. And then take the little laser probe that you adjusted to the perfect fucking height, mark it, align, loosen it, pull it up, and then you go along your merry way. Let it do its thing, come back, reset it, do the RAM test, make sure it's the same, and then you're good to go. Easy way to fix it without destroying the probe.
Another thing you can do too, let's say you did like what I did my very first time doing the whole autofocus. If you do crash the nozzle into it, like it went that deep, let's just say if you hit the emergency stop and you start your laser up and you just spam hit the stop button, it won't home, and then you'll be able to push your Z down.
Well, actually, there's a setting, at least on mine, where it says resetting, and you can push escape, and it'll stop doing its thing.
Listen, my stuff's not cool like that, so just let me
tell you something about probing and nozzles and ramming them into the. Okay, here we go. Just don't do it.
Okay.
Just don't do it, and you'll be better.
Sound advice from Nick.
All right. So, anyway, with that being said, we just had another person purchase a laser the other day. So awesome. Yeah, if you're looking to get an OMTech laser, get a hold of one of us. We can pretty much tell you between myself, Josh, Nap, even AJ at Crafted NJ, Joey Steelblade, those guys can tell you exactly what performance you can get out of what power laser you're going to get. They can, all the specs are on the website, but for somebody who's new buying a new laser, you don't know what you don't know. So feel free to contact one of us. I'm sorry, Joey, I'm putting you out there and speaking for you here, but anyway, otherwise, use promo code Sawdust Nation. It's a coupon, but you don't get any money off, but it does benefit the podcast when you go to buy your laser from OMTech. We do get a limited amount of support from OMTech for every person that purchases a laser. But we're going to go into the rest of the sponsors now, Josh.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
All right. So huge thank you to our biggest sponsor, PWNCNC. We currently are getting messages from Daniel over there. He is working on some crazy stuff in his shop. And I'm not going to spill the beans. I'll let him do the announcements. But check him out, pwncnc.com. If you want 5% off your order of anything on the website, use promo code SAWDUSTNATION981. SAWDUSTNATION981. And that will save you 5% off anything on that website.
I just got a crazy idea.
What?
We should have Daniel on the podcast this next episode.
We should. So you go ahead and ask him and let us know here in the next couple minutes. He's coming.
He already said yes.
Oh, all right. Daniel will be on the next podcast. So questions about the spindle kits from PW, email us or send us a voicemail at the podcast or shoot us a DM at our Sawdust Nation podcast Instagram, and we'll get those questions to Daniel, and he'll be able to answer them next week. And next up, we want to thank Total Boat, the big TB. Everybody needs a little TB in their life. Let me tell you, they have some great epoxy and some wonderful varnishes. So check them out at Child Screaming in the Backyard Ground. But check them out at totalboat.com. And for 10% off your order, go ahead and shoot the Sawdust Nation podcast a DM on our Instagram, and we will hook you up. And one more, I want to thank Makerstock.com for supporting us. If you want 10% off your first order at Makerstock.com, use promo code Sawdust10, right? Is it Sawdust Nation 10 or something?
Sawdust 10.
Sawdust 10. Use promo code Sawdust 10.
I get to do my part again because I'm here. So yeah, if you're listening to us, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anything that you can listen to a podcast on, go ahead and give us 5 stars. And if you don't, tell us why you didn't give us 5 stars, because we can't give you the content that you deserve if you don't tell us what you want. We're not mind readers. But hey, if you actually want to get a hold of us, Josh, tell them how to get a hold of us. Oh, come on. You got to be kidding me. I'm reading those. Well, hey, while he figures his stuff out, I'll just go ahead and tell you how you can get a hold of us. You can go ahead and reach any 3 of us at our Instagrams at either myself, Naps, Naughty Works, LLC, at North Country Woodworking for Josh, and at NPG Creations for Nick. You can also hit us up in our Gmail at sawdustnationpodcast@gmail.com, or you can hit up the Sawdust Nation podcast Instagram account. That's where you can get a hold of us all. And if you do, reach us in the Sawdust Nation podcast Instagram, you probably won't know who you get, but you've heard us talk enough on the podcast. I'm sure you can figure it out. But you will get any one of us on there. But go ahead and send us questions. Give us some thoughts. Give us some topics. Whatever you feel you want to share or ask, we are here for you. And on that, I guess I'll just go into my final words, and I'll just probably give Josh his final words because, he can't talk. I can't give final words because I can't talk. But anyways, so throughout this entire process, I've been going for 3 episodes now. I got to say, I did miss the podcast. This was I like being able to, shoot the breeze with the guys and just talk shop. I don't have a lot of shop to talk right now, but it's been great having the community, the small community that I've got backing me and just checking in and seeing what's going on. Make sure you guys are doing that for everyone else too, because you never know who might be in need of a lending ear, if you will, someone to just listen to them vent or talk about what they've got going on in the shop. Other than that, Nick.
Well, like always, take care of yourselves and each other. And, I didn't know this. Well, actually, I did know this. But, Nat, did you know that pigeons die after having sex?
No.
Oh, well.
God, that's supposed to be at the very end. God. But hey, so just to wrap it up, because Josh, for some reason, can't talk. I don't know what's going on with Josh's mic. His just randomly cut out. Riverside's really been giving us a run for our money. Sorry, Riverside. But hey, go ahead and tune in to the Sawdust Nation podcast. Next episode releases Thursday. Turn us on in Josh's words, the kitchen, in the bedroom, in the shower. Listen to us while we whisper sweet nothings into your ear, maybe while you're mowing the lawn or any of those things. Outside of that, give us a listen. Give us a shot. Make sure you send us some feedback. And on that note, Sawdust Nation signing off.
Out.